Hi you guys, happy Tuesday. We're back in the kitchen. We're gonna spend a lot of time here this winter, I think. That's okay. I'm just gonna hang out for just a minute like I always do, and wait for any of you guys to join me. Also, we have a handful of new members over the past week, so if I didn't already welcome you, welcome to the group, you guys. I really appreciate you joining. Our community is growing and we are all supporting each other and learning from one another, and it's really great. So feel free to post, ask questions, and welcome and thank you for joining. So tonight, part of our skill of the week, every week we do a new skill. And just a FYI, we're going to take a 2-week break at Christmas time. We've got lots of things going on then, so going to be a break from the skills, but we're going to start fresh again in January, don't you worry. So every week we do a new skill. Some are essential, some are not, but all are for self-sufficiency and being sustainable. And canning and preserving food is a really important skill, especially if you're growing your own food, if you're in a remote location, if you don't have enough power for fridge or freezer. Having a large stock of canned food is really good to have, especially if you're making it yourself. So this week we're going to do a couple different recipes. And we're going to start with one of my favorite recipes, which is kind of a vegetable minestrone soup. And I have been preparing and chopping for like an hour and a half. So we're going to do the rest together. And depending how hot my pot gets, I may have to cut off and then video the rest of the actual canning, which really is just waiting for it to get up to pressure and then gauging it and watching your time. So let's get to the food. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for giving me your time. Thanks for hanging out. If you have any questions when I'm going through, if you want the recipe later, make sure you let me know. And if you're on the replay, make sure you post it. I'll get back to you. Oh my goodness, you still haven't got any heat there? Jeez. Alright, so let me just grab this pot here. It's really hot. So I already started with my liquid. I don't know if you can see. I want to dump it out. I have, so 1 can of tomatoes. You can use your own. I just happen to have a stock because I bought a whole bunch the other day. So 1 can. Then I added 3 cans of water. Then I also added 1 can of paste because I still want that tomato flavor, and I did water it down quite a bit. But we're also going to add in tons of vegetables and tons of herbs, which is going to give it even more flavor, and it's going to be delicious after it's canned up. So let's get this on the heat here. Let me just light this. Alright, so I have my big bowl here. I'll just show you, and then we're going to cut some more. I have onions and fresh beans, green beans, celery, and underneath all that I have a big bunch of carrots. So once that gets back up to boil, we're going to put that in for a few minutes. And while that's cooking, we're going to chop up a zucchini, a potato or 2. I have 3 in here. We'll see. I think only 1 or 2 is going to be good. I got a bunch of fresh parsley and a whole bunch of really nice organic garlic in here. So we're going to get on that once we get this stuff in there. So I already had it on the wood stove, so it's pretty hot. Alright, I'm like so overloaded with bowls and pans and pots right now. I have no space for nothing. I even put my supper aside to stop cooking because I was running out of space. Alright, so that's only going to take a minute to get back up. So while that's going, now the reason why I waited to do the zucchini, here I'll push it back a bit, the zucchini and the potatoes, it's for one, these are going to cook really fast and I don't want them to like dissolve. And the potatoes, they're going to cook fast too, but what happens is they start to starch out a whole bunch, and I really don't want this to be like a thick soup. But I want a couple little potato chunks in there, so I'm going to put them in right at the end. Same with the garlic and the parsley. I didn't want to over garlic it, so we'll just do it at the end, and then it will all cook nicely. So let's start with this guy right here. I'm going to keep the peel on and everything. So this is, like I said, this is kind of a minestrone vegetable, I guess. It's just something I make all the time. Now, I normally make it with noodles, But you can't really put the noodles in the jar because they're just going to dissolve. So if you want to add noodles to any of your soups, you add them after, which is not a big deal. So make these a little chunky just because I know some of them are going to dissolve a bit. And I know it's soup. We don't want stuff too big, but it's zucchini. It's okay. So, and this is a really versatile recipe. You can put really whatever vegetables you like in it. I normally put some peas and corn, but I didn't get any this time frozen, so we're going to leave them out. But, I mean, it's optional. So, okay, I'm going to put that aside for a sec. Let's see if we can get our vegetables in the pot here. So, excuse me. I did a lot. I might not be able to put them all in, and that's okay. Whatever I got left, I'll just make a separate pot for me to eat over the next couple days. So I'm just going to try and get these in here without burning myself. I think I have a spoon somewhere. Somewhere. Who knows where. Not clean, I'm sure. Not clean, of course. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm totally unprepared. How's that for ya? Typical. It's typical. Somebody used my spoon, that's all. That's all it is. We gave it a quick wash. I have a sink full of hot water ready to go for situations just like this. So because I have water in here, I just want a slotted spoon, and I'm literally just going to scoop it in. So I did about 5 onions, 8 carrots, about 2 handfuls of beans, which was probably about 1.5 cups. And then I did 3 big celery stalks as well. Just want to get a little bit of everything in here. And this is just soaking in water. I just did this within the past hour, hour and a half. Really want to load this up with veggies, guys. I think I can put it all in. So what we're trying to do is we're just trying to heat it. We're not trying to cook it. So we're only going to put this in here for about 10 minutes. I'm going to have to bring it back up to boil, though, because all these veggies are cold. I don't know if you can see me. I'm sure you can hear me. And we're going to try and get them all in here. So we're hoping to fill at least 9 jars. I think that's what I can fit in my canner. It's been a few months, guys. I can't remember. Alright, that's the majority of it. That over here. So I'm just going to put the lid on. I'm not going to do anything to it. I already added a little bit of herbs. We'll add some more after. So let's get this stuff out. So how's it going out there, you guys? Anybody do any pressure canning? Anybody interested in learning about pressure canning? Something I've learned in the past few years. I waited several years to get a pressure canner because they're a couple $100. You know, I don't always have a couple $100. But I got one. So I just got some really nice garlic here. I'm not sure what you can see. There you go. I already pre-squished a little bit and took stuff off. I'm just going to kind of loosely chop this. So, and the fresh parsley is going to add a really nice flavor and some nice texture in there as well. I like more fresh herbs in my soup if possible, but I don't have that many available right now. I have some oregano, but it's kind of small. I don't want to take from it just yet. So just give that a loose chop. I'm just going to put this right in here with the zucchini. So, this parsley, I already took it off the stem, but it still needs a good chop. So I used quite a bit of ingredients, but all in all, it really wasn't very expensive if I were to buy everything. Probably not even a full bag of carrots, a couple potatoes, not even a full bag of onions, like 5 little onions, 3 celery stalks. So I think I'll do a little bit more. A couple cloves of garlic. Mind you, they were organic, giant organic garlic. But still, only a few cloves you saw me put in there. 1 zucchini, 1 can of tomato, which by the way is optional. You can use just a vegetable stock, which I'm making as well. It smells, the aroma in here is fantastic. And what I did is I'll show you after, is everything that I chopped up, everything that I peeled, anything that was decent looking, like nothing like this, but like the peel of the carrots, the onion, anything like that, the end of the celery, it all went in that pot with a whole bunch of herbs and spices and a few different other things. And let's see how this is doing. All right, good. Good. That's coming to a boil. So, and it smells fantastic. And what I'm going to do is actually the exact same process, the same amount of time for the soup, except it's just going to be broth. It's just going to be nothing in it except the broth. So I'll do that probably in a separate, maybe after. I might let it cook a little longer. So I'm just going to peel these potatoes. You don't really want to put potato peel in you don't want to can it up. You can if you're doing just potatoes. They will go a little, I don't know what the word is, stodgy, I guess. And they'll turn your potatoes a little brown. But nothing wrong. They're not bad or nothing. They look bad. So generally we leave the potatoes out. And in fact, my husband is going to be jarring up some potatoes this week as well. He does his own canning sessions while I'm busy, because they finished off the last of them. I still got lots of beans and carrots and stuff in there, but they finished off the potatoes. And they had made their own beef stew and some other stuff, pork stuff. They finished off that, so we're going to do a couple of meat recipes for them. Usually they're going to do it, but I'm going to do one or two just to show you guys that it's okay to can up a little bit of meat. So, and I'm going to chop these pretty small because I'm adding them in right at the end. Bite size, bite size. I don't know. Whatever that is, half by half maybe. So, and I think maybe 2 potatoes. We'll see what one gets us here. I don't want too much potato in my soup, to be honest with you, because there's chances that I'm going to add some noodles later. And I don't want double starch. Not that it's bad, but the noodle starch is not great. This is good starch. But I still don't want a starchy soup. That's my point, guys. No starchy soup. So, now if you can't do any pressure canning, at least try to do some regular bath canning. Yeah, I think we'll do one more. Some jams, jellies, salsas, pickles, things like that. Because it's just a good way to get started and have fun with things that you could forage and get seasonally. And I hope you guys who are new will stick with me next year. We have lots of things like that coming. We'll start a whole new foraging season and growing season. I'm excited. I have my course going to get launched in January. And we're going to do all kinds of free workshops and all kinds of stuff going on starting January. And I think I've decided that I'm going to do some cooking, Monday cooking, Meatless Mondays. But not here, not in the group. That's not our focus. But of course, you're all welcome to join me. I'll let you know when and where in January. There, yeah, I think 2 potatoes is good. So we're going to add this, the zucchini and the herbs, the garlic and the parsley in, and then I'm going to add the potato in right at the end. And guys, it's really easy because for the most part, we're letting the pressure canner do the cooking for us. We just had to do a whole bunch of prep and a little bit of cooking, and we had to take up the entire kitchen for things, but for the most part, it's not that bad of a process. Just like if you were going to make a big batch of soup and cook it, freeze it up or something, you'd have to cook the whole thing almost, or at least par cook it. Here, we're not really doing that. So, we're going to get in this bowl right here. And it's already smelling really good. The number one thing I want to check for before I put it in my jars is salt. We do want to have it a nice salt content, because we are going to be preserving it, and a little extra salt goes a long way. Of course, we're not going to be putting as much as you would get like at a store-bought. I have a whole bowl here of compost. We're constantly composting and feeding the ladies, and we try not to let too much go to waste. So let me just pause for 2 seconds here. So I have my canner going, and I'm preheating it a bit. Now I have it filled up about right here to with water. You want it about 2/3 full. The water is going to rise a bit when I put the jars in there. You don't want it above the jars, so I can always add a little bit more. But right now I have it about probably close to 2/3 now. But what I didn't add, and what's really important to add to your water, is vinegar. So about 1/4 cup to 1/3 of a cup. I'm not even going to measure. I can tell. And the reason why you want to put the vinegar in here is so if anything breaks or escapes, which has happened to me several times, it's not going to stain and cook on the side of it. It's going to make it easier to clean, and it's going to help just with bacteria and sterilizing in general. So it's really important that you put in the vinegar in your water. So I put in about 1/4 cup in there, maybe add a little bit more if I have to add a little bit of water. So let's mix this up. Now I originally started with about 1/2 pot of liquid, and it's about up to here now that I've added all the vegetables. I have a tea kettle on the stove, which has already been boiled and it's keeping warm in case I need extra water, because we want to make sure that our jars, which we'll start prepping right now, our jars are ready to go. So we're going to put down a fresh thing here. Okay, so I'm guessing that I should probably at least be able to fill 7 to 9 jars. These were already pre-washed. Oh, I lost you. Come back here. Pre-washed. So we'll take out 9. Now, even though I've salted, I want to make sure that I have a little pickling salt in there, just because it makes me feel a little bit better that I'm preserving. Putting that salt in there in case I didn't have enough. But we are going to taste. So I'm going to put in about 1/2 teaspoon into each one. I'm going to have to do it with my hand. I think it's pretty... So we'll fill this up a bit. If I don't use these jars, I can just dump it out. There. The rest of the sink, good to go. Alright, so I have brand new lids. You always want to make sure you're using brand new lids when you're canning anything, even in a bath canner. You can reuse these lids to store stuff on the shelf or in the fridge, but you cannot reuse them, or you definitely should not reuse them. You're not supposed to reuse them for canning. And the pressure canned ones, when we take them off, I actually throw them in the garbage to make sure that they don't get reused for anything at all. And often, I find I bend them anyway, picking them off. So, just a good rule of thumb is just to throw out the ones that you pressure can, and any ones that you bath can. Put them away. Don't put them with your new ones. And start fresh with a brand new box every time. Just for safety, you want to make sure everything seals good, and you don't want anything happening with the seal. And once you use it once, it starts to wear and tear, and you don't want that, because then it's not going to seal, especially in a pressure canner. Alright, so we got our jars ready. Our liquid is just about ready. I'm going to add in those potatoes in just a few minutes. And then all we really need to do is seal up the jars. I'm going to put a little, let's get that bowl ready right now. We're going to put a little warm water and vinegar in a bowl so we can wipe the rims off. You should always wipe the rims, whether you're bath canning or pressure canning. So far, we haven't really done anything scary. We've cooked a couple vegetables, chopped some vegetables, got some jars clean and ready, and the next part is really just going to be getting them in there. So let me just grab some water from over here. I have some warm. I'm going to just put a little vinegar in it, so when I'm ready to go, it's kind of hot actually. That's okay. Alright, just put a little vinegar in there. That way when we're ready to go, I have my little paper towel, or you can use whatever you have. So I can see that's boiling. So we're going to put in our potatoes. Hi, guys. So what I got going on here is a whole lot of vegetables cooking. I'm adding the potatoes last minute, and then I'm going to taste for the salt. Because we want it to have a salt taste to it. That way we know it's going to preserve, even though I already put some in the jar. So I didn't put that much potato in. I don't want a potatoy soup. So bring you over here while I stir and taste. There's lots in there. It's real nice. I have a tasting spoon right here. Needs a little more salt, guys. Needs a little more salt. And I'm not going to add too much more flavor because I know all the herbs in there are going to adjust and soak in there. Yeah, I just put a little pinch in there, not too much more. And a little bit more pepper. So, once that starts to boil a little, we're going to give it just a couple minutes. Then we can fill up our jars. Let me just move all this stuff out of the way. Alright, let's sit down for 2 seconds, have a drink. It is warm in here. It's the hottest day you can imagine in December. And I'm got the wood stove going. The canner's going to be going. Oh my goodness. Just taking a break. I'm dying of heat here. Everything's just simmering, ready to go. So if you guys want this particular recipe that I'm using, it's really simple, really easy, and of course you can adjust it to vegetables that you guys like. But I like a minestrone kind of soup, so this one's kind of half and half, I guess. It's really good if you leave out the tomato, can of tomatoes, and you just put in some vegetable stock. It's really good for that as well. And like I said, I really like putting noodles in mine after it's cooked. So if you want noodles, this is a good soup for that. My broth is smelling amazing. I don't know if I can show you what's in there, but it is just, I mean, this has been cooking for hours. And oh my gosh, the color of it. I'm going to see if I can move you guys. How about that? I don't know if you can see. Well, anyway, what's in there is literally everything that I chopped off of everything, as well as a whole bunch of herbs, including the onion tops, guys. Let me see it. The onion top. And the reason why I put the onion skins in there, for one, it's given it a really nice dark color already, which you generally would get by adding some beef stock or tomato. But we didn't want to do that. We don't use beef stock. I don't anyway. And I didn't want to add any more tomato because I'm making the tomato style soup. So I added in those onions. Not only am I getting the flavor, but they're giving it a really nice dark brown flavor. And I'm going to strain it all out anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So save your onion skins and your carrot peels and all that crap, and then make some vegetable stock with it. And it's really easy. Then you just put your stuff out in the compost. That way you're getting like multi-purpose and you're not wasting. Which is part of being sustainable, guys. Alright, so this is just about at a boil. I'm going to turn this pot up here a hair. So we want to make sure that we're putting hot jars into hot water. That way it's going to come up to temperature together fast. Because if you're putting in cold jars, they're not cold, they've been in this nice warm room. If you put in cold jars into hot water, you can get crackage. It's going to take longer for the water to heat back up. It's not a good scene. So hot jars and hot water. And these are warm already from being in here, and they're going to be super hot when I put in the hot liquid. So let's make sure we have a ladle. We have a ladle? Of course we don't have a ladle. Why is it every time I go to do something that one or two things I need is vanished or not clean? It's not, I don't even see it. So we're going to have to use this guy. That's okay. We're actually going to stick him in there right now to make sure it's sterilized. Just leave it in there for a minute. Alright. Should have enough lids. I have bags and bags and bags of lids. It's crazy. It's almost there, guys. It's almost there. We don't want to rush it. It has to hit that little bit of boil. I don't know where my reusable bottle went. I can't find it anywhere. I filled this one up like 5 times. Not very good of me. I made some really great iced tea, but it got left out, got warm, and now it's no good. But I made some pomegranate raspberry iced tea. Oh man, it was delicious. You guys should make your own iced tea. I'm telling ya. I'm telling ya. Alright. Looking good, looking good. That's about good. I can see a little bubble in there. I knew we were right on the edge. So careful, this is hot. I'm going to take this right off. Alright, so I'm going to bring you guys over a little closer so I can fill up these jars. Now I expect if any of you guys are going to be doing this, that if you have questions, you will DM me, we will comment on this later on, whenever you're going to do it, because if you've never done it before, it can be daunting when you're getting from this part to the next part. So I'm going to do as much as I can on camera, but then it's going to be a waiting game, and we don't want to just sit here like we just did. So I'll end up probably just continue to film, not live, and then I'll put a little video together for you guys later or tomorrow, depending how long this process takes in general. Alright, so let's get our makeshift ladle here. So put that there for a second. I also have these jar funnels. These are fantastic. I have a couple of them. Put that in the hot water for a second. So you want to try and get as much of the actual food in the jars to begin with before the liquid. So this is going to take a few minutes, guys, so just bear with me. It's already looking good. The color, I added, 8 carrots. I think I said already. Celery stalk. Oh my goodness. Herbs, lots of herbs. So if I have leftover, great. I'll just cook up the rest and eat it. If I don't have leftover and I can't fill all the jars, that's okay. You just fill up what you can. You don't have to fill your canner completely. Of course, I wouldn't recommend just putting 3 or 4 jars in there. If it calls for 9, I would aim for at least half of that. So I don't think I'm going to get a full 9 jars, but we'll see. It's raining like crazy here, guys. I don't know about where you are, but holy crap, it is insane out there. I'm surprised we haven't been cut off yet. Alright. So as you can see, like, I'm not particular about what's going in what. Just scoops of it are going in. You know, you get what you get. That's the fun of it. But you can see probably there's lots of color there. Lots of goodness. We're going to put this at 10 pounds pressure for 60 minutes. You could do it at 65, but 60 minutes should be fine. And if you need to adjust if you're 1,000 feet or more. For every 1,000 feet above sea level or more, you need to adjust by 5 minutes. Alright, look at that. Look at the color, guys. Alright, how are we doing out there? I know there's some of you watching. I'm sorry my back is turned to you right now. Feel free to comment, ask questions. I will see it after. Alright, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. Maybe we can fill these 9 jars. It's going to be a slow process. Alright, I have to get my slotted spoon back. What do I do with that? It's It's right here. It's right here. Don't worry, I got it. All right. So guys, I recommend that if you're doing this for the first time, or you're still a newbie, you've only done it a couple times, that you have somebody with you to help you. Usually my husband is here to get the next part going for me, but they're out right now. They may be back, I don't know. But I've done it enough times that I've done it a couple times by myself. But, you know, sometimes you need a little muscle. For me in particular, I like to have the muscle to make sure that my seal is on there good before I start anything. But, like I said, that's, you know, if you're brand new, get some help. That way, too, you can split up the jobs. If you're afraid of the pressure canning part, let them learn it, and you can learn all the recipes and stuff, too. So we're almost there. Look, we almost filled our jars. I'm really kind of surprised, to be honest with you. A little surprised, you guys. So I'll have to add a bit more to some of these. And, all right. So let's see how hot that is. Pretty hot. There you go. Lots of goodness in there. I'm going to fill it up with liquid now. And then when we get the liquid in, we're actually going to have to get some of the air bubbles out with this handy dandy tool. So again, bear with me guys. I'm going to have to fill this up. Fill these up with liquid. Somebody misplaced my big ladle, so we're stuck with this guy. Tomatoes stuck in there. I'm actually just going to do a couple here just to show you. I can finish them off camera so my back isn't to you the whole time here. It's kind of rude of me. Yeesh. The mess I'm making. Okay, we'll just do these two. So, now this is going to have lots of air bubbles in it. Hot water. So make sure, please don't use a knife for this, a butter knife. If you scratch or bang the bottom of your jar, it could crack, and that way it will break. So please use some kind of, if you have to use like a little wooden skewer or a chopstick. A chopstick works awesome. So if you have chopsticks, you don't have to have this handy dandy tool. But of course, if you're canning, this tool, the grabber here, the funnel, and like 2 other things, they all come in one little kit for like 10 bucks. So, you know, invest in yourself. Alright, so as I see the level has gone down, I can add a bit more veggies and a little bit more liquid. If you guys have done regular canning, this is the same process. It's really not that much different other than the actual processing part of it. So, we're going to add just a little bit more veggies to this one. And you only want it up to the rim. Wipe those off. Our lids are brand new lids, remember guys. So I'm not sterilizing these like I would do if I was bath canning, because the pressure canner is going to sterilize everything for us. You want to make sure these are on here finger tight. They don't want to be too tight. So, and we're literally just going to fill up the rest. I'm going to put them in here. Once I got them all in, I'm going to pop my lid on. Now I've already checked my seal. Remember guys, you need to check your seals. Make sure everything's good, ready, safe, nothing's cracked. They're not dried out too much, so they don't break when they're in there. And then I'm really going to get this lid on there. Squeeze it on. I have a lock on mine. So I'm going to get mine on there, lock it, And then it's probably going to take about 20 minutes to get up to pressure. And what's going to happen, I'm going to film it, but what's going to happen is there's going to be a steady stream of steam coming through this little vent. There's also going to be steam coming through these things. They're going to be spitting out everywhere, and it's really going to piss me off. But eventually that's going to stop, and it's only going to be this thing steaming, and that's when we're going to put on our weight. We're looking for, this recipe is for a 10 weighted gauge here, and I'm going to pop it on at some point. Well, anyway, I'm going to pop it on, not like that. It's going to go all the way down, and then I'm going to wait for this to jiggle. And once it starts to jiggle consistently every couple minutes, then I'm going to start my timer. So to get up to that process, like I said, it's going to take between 20 and 30 minutes, even though I've already preheated my pressure canner. So I just wanted to explain that to you, and I'm also going to show you as I record after I shut off here and say goodbye, which I'm going to do in just a moment. So guys, that's really all you have to do is get your stuff partially cooked, ready to go. Fill up your jars, hot water, clean lids. Put them in your pressure canner with your water and vinegar. Seal it tight and wait for it to come up to pressure, and then get your timer on. That's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye now so I can finish up this process, get everything in and started, and then I'll record it and show you guys what I'm doing now. After what I'm doing now, but after. Whatever. Look at, whoo, I'm shiny. It is warm in here. I may step out in the rain for a few moments. I hope you guys don't think bad of me. All right, I'm going to get back to it so I can actually get out of the kitchen and cool down. So if you guys have any questions, if you want this recipe, whatever, let me know. And I'm going to come back on, I guess I'll come back on Thursday and do some beef stew. We'll do some beef stew. It'll be, we're going to actually pre-cook the beef stew. We're not going to be doing it like this one, so it's a little bit different. And then maybe we'll do some meat as well in the same night. So I'll see you guys Thursday. Have a good one. If you're here, stay dry. Hopefully you don't get flooded out. And if you're not, hopefully you're in a nice sunny location. Ernest, you need a wood stove. Get something.
All right,
love you guys.
Let's get all these jars in there. Take your time. You want them to all fit in there without touching. If they start to bang or rattle around too much, they might crack or break. So take your time to get them in there. I'm a little meticulous, so I took a little extra time, but got them in there nonetheless. Now you want to get the lid on. You want to get out all the air, get it nice and tight on there to get it sealed. So when the pressure comes up, the little lock will pop up on the side there and hold it all safely together as it starts to build pressure. All right, so it's steaming, but it's not quite ready yet. My lock isn't up, and it's still steaming from both the locations there. There, my lock's popped up. I still have steam coming out, so I'm not quite ready yet, but almost there with one steady stream. Once you get your steady stream, then you need to get on the weighted gauge. The stream is steam, so it's hot as hell, so be really careful. Of course, mine's a pain to get on, so we're going to fight with it for a second. But I get it on. So just be careful. And now, look at Beans. He doesn't like what's coming next. The sound. This is what we're waiting for. So once it starts doing this consistently, set your timer for 60 minutes. Once your timer has stopped, you let the pressure canner cool completely before removing the weight or the lid, and then you can put these on the counter and listen to those popping sounds and let them sit for at least 24 hours. Then you can wash and remove the rings and put them in your pantry. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.